Anyway, the whore who sits on many waters, or the whore of Babylon, the whore that rides the beast, the cup of gold in her hand, and the wine of their fornication. So, as I was describing in the last video, how a whore and a mercenary, like to be a mercenary for, like for Nimrod, let's say all the kings who were confederate with Nimrod, they were whoring with Nimrod in a way. That's a form of whoredom. And in another way, it's also to be taking money for protection, but then also but in the long term, eventually, he might buy your loyalty in the beginning, but in the end, your whole kingdoms will pay tribute forevermore. Now, you know what I'm saying? So that's how getting in bed with someone. And the whore is talking about having a bed. Okay. All right. So is that America? Because America is the mercenary army of the Catholics, of the Templar, of the Jesuits, the Black Pope. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy about it is, and to some extent, yes. And another extent, it is the Vatican, but then it's not, because craftily they control the whore here in America, or maybe that's the daughter of Babylon, because the ancient one comes from Iraq. And guess who is over there? These guys called ISIS, which was the wife of Nimrod, okay? And ISIS isn't a real terrorist group. I mean, they're a real terrorist, but look, they're not what you think they are. They're mercenaries. They are private, corporatized soldiers bought and paid for by the private sector. The private sector is the Queen of England. It's fucking the Vatican. It's the multinationals that are American politicians, but secretly they're really globalists. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also heard the name of ISIS called Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. So, the synagogue of Satan, which is basically the Zionist arm of the Illuminati Albert Pike WW3 scenario, because they got insiders there. That's their people over there. Just like in the Muslim world, that's their people. And ISIS is a great example of that. It's just all these guys who are fighting over there in wars after they get out of the army and shit, and say that they got their dossier, they'd be like, yeah, you did some badass shit. Here, we'll hire you for this, for gold, buddy. Here, you're working for the beast. We can give you whatever you want. And look, that's how they recruit these ISIS people. And they're just really soldiers who run around, take pictures with their guns, dancing, and they always got masks on. It's because, look, if they took them off, you'd see Brits, you would see Americans, you would see non-Muslims in there. You know what I'm saying? Or you would see Americanized Muslims. They're just fucking actors. I mean, I know that sounds really stupid, but look, at the same time, though, that's not the real Muslim fucking army. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's the boogeyman, that it's like a puppet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, there's a hand under that puppet. You're fucking, whose hands under that puppet there? You know what I'm saying? And it's Satan. But the whore that rides the beast, I think, is actually Islam. Because secretly, the Vatican created Islam in like 1,000 years ago. And they made them as a proxy army to take Jerusalem back. But once these guys, it's almost like, look, we're the Crips. And we're like, man, we don't have any gang, man, to fight us anymore. Look, we gotta pull a fucking rabbit out of a hat. Here, let's go create our opposition. Controlled opposition, Hegelian dialectic, the black and white chessboard, or checkerboard. Look, problem, reaction, solution. They create these guys. as a pretext to create an army to go fight them. You know what I'm saying? Because since they lost them, they thought it's like they lost control over the Muslims, but they never lost the fact that they created them. And so all the years, they're really, that's the whore riding the beast, because them themselves do not acknowledge that they were created by the popery. The popery's none. You know what I'm saying? And they don't see how they're getting gamed. And now they adopt this pagan witch, goddess, woman, you know what I'm saying? Which secretly, these guys are fucking Mary worshippers just like the Catholics. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, literally, they revere virgins. Hey, is there any other religion that reveres a virgin? You know, a woman virgin, especially woman virgins. Look, what do they get when they die? 70 what? What? 70 Marys? You know what I'm saying? 70 Marys? In a planet. So it's not, dude, this total thing is a deception. It's not what it appears to be. Like, these are supposed to be Muslim, bearded, manly men. And their mascot is the Virgin Mary. And they're supposed to be like, look, we're against the Catholics. Well, it's like, how come you guys got the same mascot? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and how come you guys, it's like, I heard you guys are supposed to be fucking very intelligent. Keepers of the mystical knowledge and the original college people. And it's like, you guys should be able to know this type of stuff then, because it's like, who in the F are we over here, man? We ain't nobodies. But look, this stuff is out there. It's like, look, I can state that with uttermost confidence, because, I mean, look, as far as the alchemical symbolism of these people, it definitely is it is the same mystery religion cult. The sun and moon cult. Allah is the moon god. And I mean, it's like, I mean, that's kind of weird, because I mean, it's like they teach these philosophies to different people and they switch the fucking meanings in attempts to conceal the fact that they're connected. It's like, wait a second, no, this is the same lit as you're showing me in this thing right here. This is all the same stuff. It's just you painted it blue over here and you painted it red over there. And then you'll throw in a green or a yellow here and there. You know what I'm saying? Or a black or a all white or a gray. You know what I'm saying? It's as stupid as that to divide and conquer people. And you teach them the same shit on two sides, and both sides will swear they are fucking fighting for the right cause. But it's like, wait a second. And then there's this guy in the middle who created both of you guys and propped you up to fight each other. And you think, if it truly was a righteous cause, there wouldn't be that guy who manipulated both sides and was aware of it all along, and it was concealed. You know what I'm saying? But it's not concealed, because I've been making videos like this about the Muslim Catholic connection for quite some time. And it's just like, even like, you can go over in Asia and some of, not like the Shaolin temple, but there's other sub temples like in Tibet. And they do have on Mithra hats, which looks like a hat that looks like the Smurfs. It's a hat, but it folds over in the front here like this, and it's round like a poof. It's called a Mithra hat. And the Mithra religion, like Tammuz, Nimrod, that's the same thing as Mithra. Apollo, same thing. Male sun god deities. And when you find out Nimrod was just a man, you know what I'm saying? But he did something to become very powerful, and then people started to attribute him to godhood as the sun itself, and his wife as the moon. That was just all through adoration, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's totally a falsehood, because that dude ain't the sun, nor is his wife the moon, because neither of them are around anymore, and yet we still see the sun and the moon, and we're not going to see them. You know what I'm saying? Well, unless they clone them from some fucking mummy, which, you know, I admit that's a possibility here. But I'm thinking, I used to think it was the Catholic Church that was the whore that rides the beast, but no, now I see that it's the Muslims. And because if you watch Walter Vate, Islamic Connections, if you listen to Walid Shubat, and he talks about how Allah is Satan, and that it's a white man's religion. That's another thing that there's another fucking telltale sign that there's something wrong here. It's like, danger, Will Robinson. Danger, Will Robinson. It's like, listen, these Muslims are fighting for a religion that's a white man's religion, for real. And then you got people over here on our side who won't follow the Bible because they think it's a white man's religion. When you look in Acts, it said they were Niger. You know what I'm saying? And it also talks about this Jewish guy who was an Ethiopian. So I'm just trying to tell you, and Moses was married to an Ethiopian. Yeah, it's like, look, there's so much misconceptions. See, the black men think that they're following a dark man's religion when you're following a white man's religion. Allah said he only, or Muhammad only, or Allah's only going to save the white skin. You know what I'm saying? That's what Walid Shootbat was said. And he was a radical terrorist radicalizer at some point. But he had a change of heart and a conversion. You know what I'm saying? And over here, you know, the Knights Templar, the Birth of a Nation, that movie. Now, you can't tell me there ain't some fucking funky business going on here. And there's a deception. There's a reason why they hate black people so much, because secretly somewhere somebody knows that these guys are truly Israelites. I ain't gonna say they're not the whole thing, but they are Israelites. You know what I'm saying? And that's obvious at this point. And the more you look to find a definite white Israelite, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's only one reference to Joseph being white with red hair, and that's just because of a statue. And if it's coming from like Smithsonian scientists and archaeologists, then you can't trust what they're fucking saying. You know what I'm saying? Or it's not to say that, what's to say someone didn't come over and paint over the true thing? Because like someone was saying that when the Greeks were taking over the world, they would go, and the reason they would smite all the noses off the statues isn't because they were Khazarian Jew noses. They were black people noses, basically. And all the statues were of black or ethnic people or whatever, dude. And they really didn't like it that much. So, and if you want to look into some of these texts, read the book of Maccabees. You know what I'm saying? Even though all the images of that, they show white-looking Jew guys. So, once again, though, they were conquered by the Greeks, who they were known to, they were racist. That's where the word Niger comes from. It's a Greek word for black person. You know what I'm saying? And those are the ones who went through and destroyed all the statues and try to cover it up. And the Greeks learned all their philosophy, a lot of their mythology, and they stole it from this group called Kemet, which Kemet was a sub-colony of Egypt. So they had the whole pantheon of Egypt gods, and the Greeks took it from them in Timbuktu or whatever, took it back to Greece, then became powerful, and then basically the people they learned it from, they erased them from fucking history, or they helped facilitate a cover-up. So, I mean, if you can trace it all the way back to Alexander the Great time that they've been doing this, and then the Romans came and stole all of their information and extracted it and then covered it up, that it's like they took all the best of the shit and then never leaked it back to the public. They kept it to themselves, so the public would be dependent on the government to implement the stuff that they're stealing and extracting from the rest of the world. You know what I'm saying? And then with no idea where it really came from. You know what I'm saying? It's a total slave you out society. I mean, you might reap the rewards of having technological advancements, but they disempower the common guy by making him rely on the big freaking brother to get everything done.